Hello, everybody. Welcome to this edition of Ahead of the Curve Live. I'm David Thomas. This is Bo Gill. We're excited to be here tonight with you. We just wanted to thank you for what you did last week. We had a lot of participation in our chat. We had a lot of topics come up. We actually could have gone all night, probably, Bo.
Yes, we
and,
could have.
And we appreciate you guys. We want to let you know that tonight's show is sponsored by the Winter Circle here at 603 Evans Street, right here in Shelbyville.
Yes.
Check them out. They've got Ariat products, Duke Cannon products, case knives, buck knives, you name it.
Come check them out.
A lot of gift ideas. It's more than just the horse stuff. It's everything else. But Bo, I just got to ask you, why are you so pumped up tonight?
I'm just excited because it's Thursday night and it's Thursday Night Live and it's right here on Shelbyville Now. We're going to talk local topics and we're going to have you, the listeners, viewers, whatever you want to call them. You can ask us all your questions. You can send us any of your feedback and just see what's going on. We had a great show last week, and I just want to echo what he said. Thank y'all for watching and for the support and for the questions. So we want to grow this a bigger time. If you've noticed, we're 2 hours later tonight, so we're trying to hit you, right before bed, just to give you that info right before it's a new day tomorrow. So welcome back to all y'all.
And Andy Gibson says it's past his bedtime.
Well, it just a little bit longer. Stay in there with us. You're going to be informed. You might even stay up another hour.
All right, Bo. So what else going on around town? What are you hearing these days?
Well,
what are we going? What's the topic tonight? We're going to start out with.
Well, I'll tell you what. Have you been on Cannon Boulevard where the food trucks are?
Oh yeah,
that place is popping. I didn't know what was happening at first, but it came to fruition. They've got a little area where you can sit under. They've got 4 or 5 little trucks there, and it is just a nice. Seems like a nice area, a nice place to take a break, and it seems to be happening there. I haven't tried it myself, but I'm going to, and I think that's I'll tip my cap to them because that's something that we all need to support. The diversity of food there, and the accommodation of the patrons. I think it's a neat concept. So
yeah,
what do you think about that?
I hadn't been out there yet. I've seen it. I hadn't stopped in to get anything, but I plan on it. I've driven by and it seems like they're having pretty good success with it. So
they are.
Is anybody stopped in out there? If you have, please comment. Let us know your opinion of it and how you liked it.
And if you were on your way there, if you happen to be in the middle of a storm, we've had some rough storms lately. There's been some bad storms. If there's been some damage, around, let us know how the storms have affected you. It's that time of year. We have them in the middle of the night. We have them whenever, but they can be pretty strong. We've had some straight line winds, a lot of rain. So, tell us about that also. You're on your way to the food truck paradise.
Well, let me shout out this. A lot of people follow Shelbyville weather.
Yes.
Elijah Kirby does a great job of keeping people informed. And quite honestly, I don't even look at anything else. I look at Elijah's site because he's so far ahead of the game on predicting, and he's so accurate because he is honing in on this area.
Why would you look anywhere else? Everything else is honed in out of Nashville. It's honed into Nashville. I'm not saying they're not accurate, but they're honed into Nashville. Elijah, on the other hand, Shelbyville weather, it is in this area, and he is right on top of it. And you can check it with any other weather you want, and he's on it.
Yeah.
So tune in, support him, and tune in to any of his broadcasts because he stays on it most of the time.
Yeah, Elijah and I have talked, and we're going to do some joint things. Going to do some live streams and that type of thing, and he's going to be a contributor. And we're going to absolutely support Elijah and what he does because I think he's got a real future there. And he has a unique ability to converse with people and explain what's going on in layman's terms,
yes,
as well as having the scientific mind behind. He knows the science on it too.
He does.
So he has a unique opportunity, and I'm proud that he's had this success, and we look forward to working with him in the future.
Definitely.
Last week we talked about 2 or 3 topics, but it seemed to gravitate toward one, and that was the fact that people were noticing a strong odor around the county, well, specifically the city, toward the south and the west side. Got a lot of comments on that, a lot of comments and conversations after we went off the air. People throughout the week were still commenting on it. I talked with Mayor Carroll And the mayor is going to come on and sit down with us and talk about a lot of things. And I'm sure that will come up because it was mentioned about the sewer lines possibly being old and there being some issues. And I think he wants to maybe talk about that. We had a conversation after that, and I believe we'll have him on real soon.
Now that a part of that issue too is that disposal facility, that recycling agricultural facility that I think lets a lot of those smell. So we did want to recognize that too, and that's mainly on the east side of town. Every now and then you'll get a big strong smell, but I know as far as the concerns we've had, I'm not sure if they were in particular to that or the city, but sometimes it's a part of life around here. So it's something we've got to deal with, and it's something that's hard to address and hold accountable for. But agriculture is a big industry here in our region, always has been, and that's one part of it for a lot of it. Now, when you come to sewage and infrastructural issues that need to be corrected, then that's a whole different matter. But we just appreciate everybody, having that topic out. We had a whole set of topics, and that topic came up, and it was something that was important to people, and it's what they wanted to talk about. And that's the goal here, is to give you a voice to what you may want to talk about. And there may be nothing going on, but there might be sports or anything.
There is some breaking news. A few years back, Shelbyville, Bedford County came together and formed a Shelbyville Bedford partnership. Tonight, the city council met, and they were meeting on the funding of the city's part, and they have deferred that to the next meeting, so a month out. And what this means is they're on hold, and they're still considering whether or not they will be participating in that going forward. And just recently, if you look at the Shelbyville now website, there's a story about where the Shelbyville Bedford partnership has actually merged with the Shelbyville Bedford County Chamber of Commerce, and they're joining forces, and they're meeting. They have a new office in the annex building, the courthouse annex building, and a lady that's in charge there. So
I did hear that, and a lot of the concern that I heard that was mentioned at the meeting was they wanted a more detailed review of the salaries, where the monies were going. I don't know which way it was looking it was going to go if it came up for a vote, but it didn't look that way anyway. There were a couple, maybe one or two councilmen absent, and it was decided to table it and defer it to the next meeting.
So that's kind of up in the air, and we'll give you a report on that when we hear the details. That's coming up in another month. Bo, there's another thing that locally I think the big story is, and that's our local newspaper, the Times-Gazette, has shuttered its doors.
Yes,
and this institution of Shelbyville and Bedford County is now gone.
It is, and it's hard. It hasn't really sank in, I don't think, for everyone yet. What this institution has been, the way that it has informed this county, this city for over 100 years, and this historical value it has, just as being the source here in Bedford County. That's, I was born in the 80s. 1980 to be exact, and it was already really going strong, and probably in the days where it was printed every day, it was large papers. But just knowing that there's no Times-Gazette to go to for any local news, it's different. Having that for all these years. So it's bitter. It's a sad time to know that we've lost that traditional that organization.
Well, you look at the history, and I remember the big centennial edition they put together in 1969.
I do have it. I've got one of those.
It's a celebration of 1869 to 1969 celebration. They put a huge book, and it's a historical document now at this point. And throughout the years, there's so many photographs and so much historical data that the Times-Gazette's had. I just wonder what happens to all that.
They printed that in '88 too, an updated version of it.
Right, I remember that. Yeah,
and I do wonder, because there is so much history there, and I hope that it's being preserved and given its proper place.
So now I think that if you look back on things, the surge in the internet and its growth from the late '90s all the way through the 2000s has taken its toll on print media.
It did. And, first you saw it in the size reduction. They reduced the size. It used to be a thicker piece of paper, and then it came the days of print. Here most recently, it was just printed twice a week,
right?
Which the news had already been heard. It was basically if you wanted to just kind of relive the news and get their opinion of it. But it had value. It is sad to see it go. And
yeah, we've got Amanda Langford coming in here saying, let's support the new paper, Bedford Post. I think it's going to be called Bedford County Post when I saw it somewhere. Buy an ad today and let's advertise. So sad for the Times Gazette. Well, here's my question. For you people that are out there now, you're online today watching this show, or you will watch it. So in the comments, please tell us, how important is a newspaper to you? Is it something that you would subscribe to? Is it something that you would pick up at the newsstand? Is it something that you would go online and review? Just tell us.
Or is it something you could just watch right now, because we're here to talk about what's happening?
Right.
And I think the best way to get things instantly or state of the art way is right now when you log in. And this is what we're talking about here. And we will bring up these topics. And on Shelbyville Now, you will get that. But yes, Bedford Post, we need to try it out. It comes out here soon. We'll see what they got.
All right. Well, I know this. We have been inundated with requests. We've got the obituaries going now on ShelbyvilleNow.com. And we also have the police, the Shelbyville Police Department and Bedford County Sheriff's Department reports that are coming up. So that's giving some information out. We'll always do that.
Yes.
And we're going to be adding to it.
Yes, it'll be a daily occurrence of updated information.
Yeah.
And when it's released, it will be released to you. So it's really your ultimate avenue for local obituaries. And also coming up, I know in the Times Gazette, the real estate transfers were a big thing to people. And we're going to bring that back to where you can have a in-depth view of all the real estate transactions, month by month. We'll have them all listed there. So be sure to check out soon for those, because those will be there, and that'll be your access to that information.
Right. So Amanda comes back and says, we enjoy the paper and subscribe. Even being online, I like to see it in print. I make scrapbook picture frames with all the ads we run over the years. And I can remember as a child going and running to get the paper to clip my picture out if I happen to get if I happen to stumble upon a base hit and I took a picture of it.
You batted 500 every year. Quit telling everybody. His picture was front page material here.
Boy. But anyway, that was a nostalgic thing to be able to
flip
that out.
I went through the same thing. I've got a bunch of laminated photos from the Shelbyville Times Gazette of playing and my name mentioned there. So there is value to that. And I agree with Amanda that I like the paper myself. I do like it, but when I needed news or info immediately, I usually went to a website.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, both.
But I would get the paper too. So there's value in that. I mean, they got me. I don't know. I hung on to it. I'm an old soul, whatever, but I do like the paper.
I think you can go and get that instant information, and a lot of people are doing that now. But then I've talked to so many people that like to have that piece of paper. They like the smell of the ink. They like to see that smudge on their hands.
I'm guilty of reading it online and then getting the printer and reading it again.
Right. So
anyway, that's a waste.
There are plans for that, but we're going to continue what we're doing right here, and we're going to expand it.
Yes.
Okay, Emily Gill, love having you guys talking and interacting with us, answering questions we all seem to be asking. We don't have a lot of answers a lot of times, but we can toss around.
We're just
ideas,
talking. Yeah, with campfire right here. We're just hanging out. We want your questions. We'll give you, our views or any information we may have on it, our opinions. So just that's what we're looking for. But there's even though there's not a lot happening, there's a lot happening. I mean, we've got the celebration coming up soon.
Right.
We've also got something with the state coming up soon. Is the August 21st special session that Governor Lee's having for the safety, the safety session. And they've called it the red flag law, the law where that's coming up. And if you'd like to discuss information about that or what's going to happen or your view, let us know. Now, they have released some news of an entailed list of the main topics that they're going to consider. The way it reads, just as an overview, they're not going to touch, your guns. They're not going to do.
Let's back up and talk about what a red flag law actually is. And let's ask the folks out there, do you know what a red flag law is first? Second, do you think we need a red flag law in the state of Tennessee based on the way it's written in the governor's proposal?
Right.
So, so basically, what a red flag law is, both try to explain it to us here if you can.
It's where you've been maybe reported to be, having mental incompetency or issues, and maybe being a threat to yourself or someone else. And it's not that thoroughly vetted. They can come in and temporarily disarm you, take away any threats, and then run it. It's almost like a guilty before, you're already guilty. That's what that is. Now that's it in a nutshell. And that's it at its most extreme way. They do this in other ways by process of, weeks of going before court, getting the paperwork. Different states do it that way, and then coming. But this is not a topic here. Governor Lee's got that off the table. I think they consider that a win on Second Amendment rights. I mean, but here's the whole thing. This is just the first one. This it hasn't even happened yet. And regardless of what happens, if it's mental health, which they're going to focus a lot of it on mental health issues, which is a great focus. They need to. The people are still going to come after the guns, and that will, try to impede on our rights to defend ourselves. And the only way to defend yourself against another person with a gun, unfortunately, is with the gun. And, we would all hate to be in that situation, but that's what this is. It will be limiting law-abiding citizens, because they will follow the law. They will do what the government says, but the criminals will not. And it will cause soft targets. I've mentioned this time and time again. I don't think we're here on this. We're faced with a mental health issue, which I applaud them with, but there are some questionable things that they will be discussing. But just stay tuned to that. Remember, that's August the 21st, and that will be the special session. But it will be brought up year after year after year, regardless of this. So stay tuned to this. Keep your thumb on this all times. This is just the first start. We've got to always fight for our rights. And
sure, absolutely. And I think there's people out here that are law-abiding citizens.
Yeah.
And for the most part, Bedford County, I think most Bedford Countyans believe and that they want to abide by it, but they want it protected.
They want it, but it's a law. It's a nation of laws too. So you got to, if you break the law and you lose certain rights, and that's the penalty for that. Now you might earn them back.
We got a comment here on this. Amanda Langford is coming in here. So before you're found guilty of a crime, they can disarm your household. Absolutely. According to this, if they deem you to be unfit, if somebody reports, then they can do that. Okay. One other thing, Emily comes in. You're better half.
That's where I learn everything. So
okay.
let her,
all right. We'll let her
really good
school us on this. Okay. But she's here. Red flag law description in the United States. A red flag law is a gun violence prevention law that permits a state court to order the temporary removal of firearms from a person who they believe may present a danger to others or themselves. So that's putting it on somebody's judgment.
Very well said.
It's a
Thank
judgment
you very
call.
much.
Thanks,
for that.
Emily, for that. And also before this, Joshua Blevins came in. He was talking about he heard that a vote had taken place earlier this week to save the historic Bell Buckle School building. Now, I don't know a lot about that, Bo. Have you heard anything about it?
I have heard that there was a vote, I think a meeting Tuesday night, maybe, and it was voted that they will be preserving it, and it was voted unanimously at the Bell Buckle meeting on Tuesday night. So I think that's a big win for the history preservation of Bell Buckle. As we all know, that's what Bell Buckle's about. I mean, don't come in and try to change Bell Buckle. Regardless, I'm sure there's great plans. People have great plans, but there's certain areas that are off limits. And when you uproar the people, that's what happens. Regardless, I really don't have a cat in the fight. It's supposed to be a dog in the fight, but I'd say that's a winner for preservation of history in Tennessee. So there you go.
All right. Well,
thank you, Josh. Good to see you. Good to hear you.
Yeah, Josh. If we bump into each other, tell us the whole story on that as well, and we'll try to come back and talk more about it when we see what they're going to do, how it's going to be preserved. One other thing that's happened this past week, I think it happened last week at a special call meeting of the city council. There's an overlook that's going to be built on the northwest bank of the Duck River down where the old drive-in bank used to be, and it's going to be built out over the edge of that bank, and it's going to be an overlook for people to go. And it's pretty.
Overlook.
I saw the conception drawing of it, and it's pretty fancy. Oh, it's pretty expensive.
Yes.
Now, I don't know if the city is paying for this. I assume that there's a corporation coming in, but they had to get approval for this. And if you go to the city website, you can see this drawing. Have you guys heard about that? What do you think about having something like that on the riverfront down? And we're trying to build that area up, it seems.
Look, yeah, I don't, looking at the concept plan and all that, that's not reality, but it's something that could happen. And seeing that, and then picturing the fruit that could make it could clean up that whole area under there.
That puts the pressure on us as citizens and the city of Shelbyville to actually take care of that place, because if you're going to have it as a showcase, it needs to look good.
I think if something like that though it would bring some tourism. You get a lot of tourism coming, Uncle Nearest, Jack Daniels. You get a lot of traffic on 231, a lot of the Alabama plates. If you go down through Cannon Boulevard every day, a lot of them. I think you might get, if you could see that visually, which you would be from 231, that would intrigue people to maybe stop by and say, right, hey, maybe this stuff. I don't know how much value is there yet, but I think it is. I mean, you look at our square, we're sometimes we get to where we're used to it, but it's beautiful. When you look at our square, I mean, it really is. And in the lighting, I mean, it's historic. So others that see that, it really stands out to them from others' perspective.
Joshua Blevins comes in, he tells us Overlook is being funded by a grant. So I'm sure there's some sort of federal grant that the city applied for, this company has applied for, and we got that coming in. I just wonder if the city has to match any. I don't know that.
I don't know.
So we'll have to look into that. It's going to be interesting to see how that develops over time. And also how things come around that. I know there's talk of potential restaurants that's coming in. Mm-hmm. I know the old Kyle building has been sold to a company that's, I don't know, it's going to be some sort of an attraction there. I'm not specifically sure. It's some sort of restaurant, pub type thing,
right?
And of course, in the old Knox, it's trying to get a real upscale restaurant.
And I've seen some more movement there lately, so
I'm
hoping maybe that they'll get more progress. Yeah. But another question is, how are they going to coexist with what's there, like the Coffee Break and other establishments? And I've actually talked to a few, and they're already in talks with some of these companies, so that it kind of impressed me that they will reach out, not to stamp on the local competition there, but we can't forget like the Coffee Break and the Coffee Bean, the smaller places that serve, and they might be on the outskirts. So,
but there's another way to look at this as well. When you have something upscale like that coming in, it enhances the entire area.
It does.
And it gets more exposure for the Coffee Break and for Pope's Cafe and for everything around there. So if you start bringing a crowd up there, the Coffee Break's going to get more exposure. I think it will in turn help.
I think
over time, it will help all businesses in that area.
And with healthy relationships with the company, it'll go even better. They can really work off each other. So that is great news. That's something to look forward to.
Grindstone Cowboy.
That's it. And it's out of Eagleville.
Joshua Blevins, you need to come on here sometime and fill us in on what's going on, man.
He's our vast staff. He's part of our vast staff. He reports us a lot of news coming in. He's a news.
Well, he's just a spring of information, buddy. It's flowing tonight.
He's awesome.
And Amanda Langford comments talking about the Overlook. I think it would be great if it will be maintained. And I agree with that. The area needs to be maintained. And I think there's a goal to bring everything upscale there. And then we have Carl Tisma. I know I am not the only one rooting for a Publix in Shelbyville. So that changes gears all of a sudden. We're talking about a business, a large corporation coming to Shelbyville.
Well, that's a whole different grocery experience. I mean, you go into Publix, it's just kind of like everything's perfect, straight, nice, neat. I mean, they don't go in just anywhere. So,
I'm questioning myself. Would Publix come since they put one in Tullahoma? Actually,
currently, no, I wouldn't think so.
I don't think
just
so.
Gut feeling. Yeah. Sorry to hurt your host, but that doesn't cancel it out forever.
I know
we could use something on this side of town. There is nothing
on the east side of town. But did you know that the Publix in Tullahoma will deliver to the east side of Bedford County? And we've actually had groceries delivered to our house, which is 4 miles from the city limits from Publix in Tullahoma. So you've got a Publix close by. If more people, I don't know what
I
you
think
do.
wherever you live, that statement, you got a Publix close by. As far as I'm concerned, that's
15
pretty neat that
miles
they'll
is
deliver it.
It's pretty close.
That-
When you look at the center of Shelbyville and eastward, you're close to it. Some people choose to drive over there instead of coming across the traffic in Shelbyville too.
Yeah.
So
the east side of Shelbyville could use a grocery store, but they are getting another Dollar General, so there's 2 within a mile there. So happy shopping.
All right, Emily Gill, I've heard chatter about something coming. Now I do know, and I don't know, but I've heard
chatter.
Kroger Superstore on the north side of town, out farther from where it is now. I've heard that. So I'm anxious to find out what Emily knows. If she would type it here, that would be fantastic. But Grindstone Cowboy in Eagleville is great. Mark Ross is giving testimony to that. So that gives us the highlight of something good's coming up to the Kyle building.
That's great.
Okay. And then Carl Tisma, I just wish we didn't have to funnel money into another county. I don't mind the drive. Yeah, I get it. We need to keep our money local. That's for sure.
Yeah, we do. I mean, I'm all for people opening up their own businesses, but sometimes we've got to have that support, and they either go off of their food and their support or they don't. Just like we lost the Fish Trap. I love that place. Great food, wonderful food. It just didn't, for whatever reason, it's kind of like getting people to vote. They just didn't come out. It takes a little extra.
If you look at that location, it was hard to get in and out.
It was hard.
And there's been several failures go in that's tried restaurants there.
Great. It's such a good location, but the parking and stuff, it's just too tight through there.
Right.
But maybe that's not why it failed. But it was good. They had good food. If people would have tried it out and supported it more, it'd still be there.
Yeah. All right. So Amanda is coming back and she's bringing this up. Shelbyville has so many staples in the community. Small businesses need our support. For sure, but we do want to grow. And I agree with that statement 100%. And I think you're starting to see growth in rooftops. Now we have to get the infrastructure and our businesses that everybody wants to take notice.
Yeah. Instead of living in in Murfreesboro and driving, working here, I'd like to have, that here.
Okay, Mr. Producer, he's got a question from somebody.
Mr. Producer,
all right, and Emily Gill, you have to share. Amanda wants to know what you know. Okay, so this is not a gossip column.
Top secret.
Go ahead. If I recall correctly, a grocery store, Amanda Langford. What grocery store, Emily? Is it Kroger's, the big one? All right. Now here's a question from Mr. Producer. I don't know where he got this. Maybe he got this from another source. Producer. Maybe he got a phone call or a text, but. What do you guys want? That's the question. What do you want to come to Bedford County, Shelbyville, the city or the county?
I think Mr. Producer is saying we need to ask these people.
Right. Well, what do you want?
They're tired of hearing what we think.
Right.
We want to hear what you think. I mean, what do you want? Do you want? I know we need more, but what kind do you want? I like personally. I don't know if people try, but Aldi. I mean, Aldi's got it going on. They don't have the name brand stuff, but they got the prices. Something like that. They're not real big. I don't know, but you usually see them in high traffic areas. I know they're building a new one, or it just built in Murfreesboro on the Church Street side, one in Tullahoma. But we do have the Firehouse Subs coming. Don't forget about that. We mentioned that last time.
Yeah, they put the sign up.
You can get your good stuff right there. I mean, but
let me ask you this. Yeah. You're in the know. You're in the know. You're like on the planning commission.
Right, yes.
And Emily. Emily. Let me ask Emily. All right.
Yeah.
Are we getting a Starbucks really?
Are we getting?
A Starbucks? The rumor is it's going to be right out next to the Firehouse Subs.
Well, at info, if I told you, what would happen, I'd have to get rid of you, David. I just don't want to have to do that. No, I've heard the same thing, and I don't know. I can't confirm, neither deny that.
Okay, Publix, quality food that will bring consistent money and revenue into our community. That's what we want. I think we're getting a lot of hits here all of a sudden.
And a lot of times when those buildings come for us on the plan commission, we're approving that building to get built, and then it's up to the owner to get those. A lot of people think I know who's getting that, but they're actually tenants. And
Andy Gibson says he wants this. I want the flume fixed and the smell to go away.
Well, that would be a wonderful because that should be top priority. But unfortunately, out of sight, out of mind, and until the next disaster happens, it will be maintained as properly as possible, I'm sure.
Okay, so Amanda, all in. She likes your deal.
Yeah,
What specific steakhouse, Amanda? What do you want?
Probably want the Demas or something like that. You think they'd make it here? I like, Legends is our steakhouse. I mean, they've made it that long. I think because they're the only steakhouse, but they're good. I mean, I like the Johnny Fleeman sauce. I mean, I like Legends. I'm not going to hit it hard.
When you drive to Murfreesboro, Bo, where do you go eat a steak there?
I usually go to Demos or Texas, the Longhorn.
Carl Tisman.
Yeah, Longhorn. You can get those big chunks.
Longhorn.
But man, they have. I mean, prices in the last 3 or 4 years are just crazy. It's like the double. It's hard to eat a steak now and be happy.
Your wife is smart. I know. Emily, and this is something I have said for years.
It's my secret.
She says another thought. We don't have a lot of options for men's clothing either.
Well, that's right.
Okay. All right. Let me scroll back up here. Unless I'm missing, you're not missing anything. Yeah. I can't buy a pair of underwear in town except at Walmart.
And then she could buy more clothes for me. It would be perfect.
Serious. I'm serious. You can't even buy a pair of pants. Walmart is our options. You got the co-op store.
I'm not $4 general underwear. I mean, I just don't.
Unless you're a farmer, you're just out. Now I know Mr. Producer, he can go buy a pair of overalls from Tractor Supply or Co-op,
at least,
and he's happy.
Well, we don't have the budget of Mr. Producer, so
there is one place that does have a few shirts to choose from. The Winter Circle, 603 Evans Street.
Oh yes,
come by and check out that selection. We got some nice Ariat jeans, and we have some shirts.
The shirts are wonderful. You got the.
I got one on. This is a shirt,
but no, this is not one, unfortunately. But I've got the cool fit ones that are great for the hot weather. So come check them out.
All right, so we got Longhorn.
Don't forget about the knives. The knives. Don't forget about the knives
too. You can put that in your front pocket too. Yeah. You get one of them. Prime Steakhouse, kidding. Demas Longhorn would be good. Texas Roadhouse. Legends is not good. It's just what we have.
I knew that one was coming.
Okay. Just a friendly note. It's not Carl Tisma. It's Carrie. And I see that. And I'm sorry, Carrie. It's these little readers I've got. I'm getting old and
get
I
on
can't
him.
see this
Keep
screen.
on. Just give it to him.
Mr. Producer wants to put us a big screen up on the wall here.
Oh, he's blaming it on Mr. Producer.
He wants us to, and we've been reluctant. Okay, so, but if you guys keep participating like this, we'll have a big screen up there, and we'll be able to get your name right. Okay,
we will.
All right. So, Amanda, Love Legends, that's our go-to. But gosh, we eat it all the time. Carrabba's is amazing too. All right, a lot of these franchises are out there, but what it takes is an investor, a franchisee, to invest a lot of money in building a building and taking a risk on us.
It takes people. It don't take the government. Remember we talked about
the government does not build individual.
They need to bring that here. No, we need to.
Right.
And but no, that's right on.
They're going to look at our demographics. They're going to look at our city and our county. And if we get out and spruce this place up, places like this might say, hey, that place right there might be a place for us. And I think we're going to have the population coming. It's now we've got to spruce things up.
I think right now we're in the time where they're actually maybe not the big ones aren't committing yet, but they've got their eye closely on Shelbyville. They see what's going on in the city there. It's really flourishing. So I think that's kind of where we are on that.
Well, Bo's wife is right about Legends, what Andy Gibson says. All right. So do we have interest from investors? How do we get them interested in our city and county? Well, first of all, they're always on the look for expansion if they're in expansion mode. So they're looking at us. We're probably getting looked at, and they're looking at our numbers. They look at the demographics of our gross, our median income, our average income. They look at our population. They look at how far away we are from an interstate. There's several.
You can promote it till you're blue in the face. You could promote this, but really a businessman, a good business person, they're going to look for these successful places, and they're going to find them. And if it isn't successful for them, bottom line, they're not coming. And that's what's happened a lot here. Now you're starting to see bigger names. They're taking a chance in this market because they're seeing what similar closer markets are doing. They're doing the traffic counts. They're meeting criteria. They're not just coming here like strictly on chance, but predominantly they're taking a chance on a town that hadn't had something like that. So that right there brings more, momentum for the city. And I think the city's got momentum right now.
Okay, Jennifer Maddox, Bedford County Co-op has a great selection for men's clothing. I just mentioned them. You love them. I know. I'm telling you, Mr. Producer does too. I think. Did
Yes,
you have
yes.
something else for us, Mr. Producer? Did you have another request from somebody? Conversation.
Very
Okay,
good.
Brendan Taylor. I hear there's like vaping shops.
They
Okay.
love them, and the renter,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
All right, Brendan. Good deal there. All
We
right,
we,
Drew
we
Leverett. We need some money makers, factories, etc., not just money spenders, restaurant stores, etc. Yes, we do need a good source for local um, jobs. I mean, we right now, I would say most every convenience store and every other service business in town is looking for help and can't find it, but they're not that level of job
no,
that's
they're
going to
looking for
bring
that.
up that
They're
demographic.
looking for a level that that someone can live with, but also that can be a good, career for a lot of people. People can move on, but we don't have those there, and we need those here. And I don't know, if they can work with local governments, or if the space is not available. But if we can get more of that here, it would be wonderful.
Right. Amanda, I think someone is looking. I think someone is looking. We have the Chick-fil-A coming, so someone is noticing Shelbyville. Yes,
That's right.
they are noticing Shelbyville, and we are under evaluation.
Yes, right now,
Okay.
and really close scrutiny right now because of like a Chick-fil-A thing's coming, and they'll pull the trigger when they can see how this next phase moves along, and this next phase might be several years, but that's how they look at these futures investments in these years, and they see what the plan is, and they say, well, we'll come back and check them out in 4 years, but throughout the time they have somebody keeping an eye on it.
Okay, Drew Leverett, I drive to Smyrna to work. I know a lot of people drive to Smyrna to work. I know people drive to Franklin to work. I know people that drive to Nashville, all the way to Nashville.
They're getting paid more, and they're got less living costs here. I don't blame them. But it has gone up significantly all around us, not just Bedford County, but that's what most people are doing now. If we could flop that, really, if we could just keep that contained here, we've got a lot. And there's new plant coming to Shelbyville, but that's just what 190 is that 190 jobs, I think, which is great.
For what?
The new plant that's coming out on Frank Martin Road, the battery
the chemical plant.
That's
a chemical plant.
Chemical plant. Okay. That's right.
Let's get this right. It's chemicals that could be used in batteries.
They've got the storage tanks there. There's like,
I'm concerned about the chemical plant.
Yeah, they've got. Yeah.
You want to know why I'm concerned?
Well,
because electric vehicles are going to fail.
Well, you know what?
That's just
if you talk to a mechanic about electric cars, then that is true. They say there's a lot of them stored when these batteries.
Man, I've seen these pictures on Facebook and the internet where there's a guy charging his electric car with a gas generator on the side of the interstate. Okay, that's not good.
I know it. And gas is so volatile right now. I mean, it's ridiculous. It might be $3.65 tomorrow, it'd be $3.15. But anyways. I forgot where we were going with that. Where were we going with that? We got on electric cars.
Know. But anyway, that was the battery plant.
That right there is going to bring a lot of jobs and hopefully good ones, but we'll see. Right, to be determined. That place is going up, by the way. Just a little news alert.
Yeah, it's going up.
It's going. So, and they've got like 30 tanks out there.
Okay, there's a lot of comments coming in here. Property taxes keep going up. This is Carrie Tisma, but local state employee salaries are not increasing to match those needs. Also, I agree with the electric car statements. Okay. All right. Now, there is another request from Mr. Producer. I don't know where he got this, but he wants to talk about the need for things for kids and youth. And I think he's probably referring to, whoever gave this to him is referring to activities like Murfreesboro has a lot of different places that kids can go.
Yes.
Now, I do know just recently Celebration Station out at the park complex was rebuilt.
Yes, it was from money from Blue Cross. I
believe that's right.
What it was.
Right, and that's something that's public.
Yes.
I think maybe there's a place that you can go and, what's it called, Jump Street?
Yeah, there's Jump Street. There's a couple, but that's all in Murfreesboro. There's nothing here. I mean, you have to go out of town. Now, I'm sorry if there is a little. I know they have gymnastics here. And that's great because you used to have to go out of town for that. But as far as a kid's entertainment, hey, that's a market for somebody. And I mean, I jump on it if you're feeling.
Okay, so Amanda Langford, I think she's volunteering to build arcades, go-kart tracks, and putt-putt. And she said that. So I guess, Amanda, are you going to start all this?
If I can put a
We're in.
batting cage on there with you, I'll go in quarter on you, so we'll be good. We need a batting
Okay.
cage here,
The
don't we, Mr.
putt-putt,
Producer?
the putt-putt's a good idea. The Shelbyville Park Complex had one and tore it down when they
Oh, I
built
remember it.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Okay.
I used to play some good games on that putt-putt. I mean, there was big, like, quarters, like 50-cent games back in the days. I mean, y'all don't know that it had a putt-putt there. Y'all should be ashamed of yourself. They had a little fan, remember? I mean, it was like the go-to place. It was a putt-putt.
Oh, yeah. That's where you go hung out. I mean, during the summer, everybody in high school that was sick that could drive, they would drive over there and play putt-putt and just goof around.
Yeah, I loved it.
All right, you let's see, soccer fields. Tyler Gill says soccer fields. We got a bunch of those, don't we?
We're getting more, but we need more. But he's right. These tournaments out of town, you would be amazed by how many they take in. We could use many of them, and I know that the park is expanding. But Tyler, he can have more teams to field to coach and all that development.
Says, I need a partner. Are you in? No, I'm out. I'm
out.
Cages. Well, we might find you a partner, Amanda. I don't know. Our Mr. Producer might want to chip in.
Yeah, we'll get back with you on that. We'll put that.
Kimberly Francisco climb or trampoline parks. That's an idea.
That climb parks are cool, and I think that we've got some space to have that. We do have some empty space, that can be, add that value to that. There, we've got a lot of. There's a few like next to Food Line. There's a few. I know those are smaller, but they're just vacant and they sit there.
Kimberly Francisco says a splash pad. Kimberly, what is a splash pad?
That's where you get jump in the pond. You jump and you splash around in the pond. Oh, no, I think she's talking about something new. That was the old splash. That was the old splash pad. That was the one from the 70s. She's talking about the ones that you know what I mean. The splash pad.
I don't know what you're talking about. Hey, y'all gonna have to enlighten me. I'm out of the time. I just don't have a clue.
That just flew over.
But that could be something awesome. Now, if it looks fun, I'm in.
The splash pad.
Splash pad. Okay.
We need to see designs on that. We're going to be in on the splash pad.
Brendan Taylor.
Shelbyville splash pad.
Brendan Taylor. Putt at the rec center got switched out for pickleball. Have you ever played pickleball?
Yes, I took when I was in middle school, we had to learn about pickleball. And we had to play.
School.
Yeah. Coach Edwards, we had to learn about pickleball. I knew about pickleball before pickleball got cool. There's a class grade of us back in the day, and they know who they are, and we know pickleball, but then pickleball went away, and now what happened to pickleball? Now pickleball's everywhere. I went to Marshall's, there's a pickleball set. There's pickleball sets everywhere.
There's a professional league right now, and they're making big money, and it's on ESPN at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Well, bring it on. I'm good. It's just big ping pong. I'll need to do it.
But the thing about pickleball, Bo, you said you learned about it when you was in school, so that thing has got to be 50 years old.
Oh, it's old. Yeah, pickleball's way back.
I did not know that. Yes. I thought it was something new.
No, there's rules. I mean, we had to learn the rules.
It's for people that want to play tennis that can't move. All right, I got it. All right. Okay, putt. Bo can open his popcorn stand. Okay.
Oh yeah, we got that. The popcorn license is still not come in yet, so we got it.
I'm still waiting to know what a splash pad is, Kimberly. All right. So what else for kids is there out there, and what other restaurants? Let's go back to that. Okay, restaurants. What about? Give me your opinion on this. We've got the need for restaurants, but we have food trucks everywhere. Do you think that the restaurants would hurt the food trucks business? Just throwing that out there. And do you enjoy going and experiencing food trucks? I know at the Shelbyville Central scrimmage is food truck night, and that's tomorrow night out at Shelbyville Central. They're going to have food trucks set up, from what I understand.
But I assume that they get some of those proceeds, because just like the concessions do, it doesn't. They still get some.
Carrie Tisma, you're going right down my alley now. Indoor and outdoor shooting range. That's for big kids.
That would be good, and it's allowable in the city. I know there's codes, rulings on the book that we put on there probably 8 years ago. So there are standards that have been implemented. I would love to see that here. The closest one is the Templar shooting indoor in Tullahoma. I've never been, but I've heard great things about it. You can rent, shoot, learn to shoot, have classes. I'm in. Let's do it.
We've got other here. The food trucks are hurting the restaurant business.
I think that could be a good argument to that. They're not having to pay land, buy land. I'm sure you can argue that their taxes are rolled and they're paying for the land, but they're not. And There's multiple that can then use it. I'm not talking against it, but that's just the way it is.
Let me ask you this, and you folks out there, is food trucks more about the experience, or is it really about the food? Let's think about that for a minute. What do you think? Shout out to CC's Tacos on Union Street. It's a great place to eat. I've heard good things about that. Let's see. We've got Nathan Holton, a drag strip.
Madison Street,
Stanley
2 a.m.
Boulevard.
Oh, that'd be great. Let's do it. War Trace Pike. Right.
No, I think the food truck will always thrive. It's a different experience. There you go. That word, Amanda, experience. Okay.
Everybody wants an experience nowadays, and that is the food truck experience.
Okay, I've got the definition of a splash pad now from Kimberly: a concrete slab with water shooting up from it all over the kids that play in. Henry Horton has one, so does Murfreesboro.
Okay, I know what a splash pad is now.
I would participate. I would participate with my grandkids on that.
I'm in.
Okay,
splash pad.
Jennifer Maddox, park renovation can cover this. All soccer fields, new ball fields, splash pad, maybe even putt. This always brings revenue to local restaurants because of the tournament opportunities.
Now, don't forget, we do have the golf, the frisbee golf here. That course.
Frisbee golf. My son would get all over you.
What is it called?
It's called disc golf. Okay, that's the official.
Okay,
there are professionals that
cool.
play disc golf.
That's all right.
Okay,
I was just testing you.
All right.
But we've got a good one here.
I call it frisbee golf too.
It's great frisbee golf.
Man, have you gone out to the park and tried to throw a frisbee through them trees?
Yeah, it's hard.
I tried it with my son one time. I hit every tree out there in that place.
Well, you're trying not to, but there's no way not to, really. I mean, unless you just bull it through. But it's fun. I've played it twice. I know some people play it. Tyler plays it. It's fun, and even the golfer play. You know, he's a golfer and he plays frisbee golf. It needs to go back to frisbee golf. I'm sorry. I think it's a frisbee and it's a golf kind of game. So frisbee golf. Disc. Right. I don't know where that came from. It's a frisbee.
Yeah, it's a frisbee. It's a big heavy frisbee. All right, Emily Gill. I would like the food trucks if they drove through the neighborhood like the ice cream truck.
Oh, with the music, yes.
Playing the music. Okay.
They need music. Yeah, that's that.
Andy Gibson. Shelbyville food trucks are in the same camp as Legends for me, subpar. But people love them for the novelty. It's that experience.
But people love Taco Bell here for whatever reason. It's always out to North Main Street. I don't know if they're giving away tacos or, I mean, people are all over Taco Bell, it seems like all the time. Every time I pass it. And I'm not the biggest, but I like some Taco Bell. But I don't know. I mean, it's just people like Taco Bell.
They're going to stay busy. It's just the way it is. All the fast food places seem to be booming. Okay?
Well, yeah, they do. They do. But they just seem to, especially, maybe it's just when I go by it, but it seems just.
Okay, Amanda Langford comes in. I think it's definitely an experience, but when the food is affordable and good, you tend to go back. I agree with that.
That's the biggest right there.
If the food is good, it's going to thrive. That's the bottom line.
And if it's cheap, it's even better. Or cheaper.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, so, nowadays you go out 2 people, you're going to spend $25. I don't care if you're eating bottom of the barrel. I mean, that's just the way it is. You got 3 people, you might spend 50. So, and not too long ago, it was a lot cheaper than that. It's crazy how that it's changed.
Yeah. Well, guys, we appreciate y'all chiming in here.
For sure. A lot of comments, a lot of participation.
Yeah. And we're going to have to wrap this up. We could talk all night.
We could. I mean,
it's time to go to bed, Bo.
No, it's Thursday Night Live. We got to keep rolling. We got to go. It's all night.
We're shutting her down.
All right.
Okay, but here's one more question. Kimberly Francisco, who is responsible for clearing the parking lot up there in front of the Dollar Tree? The parking lot in front of the Dollar Tree. I'm trying to think where that is.
And that's on close to Walmart.
Up on the. It's in the.
Is there a lot of debris there?
I would say that the landlord would be responsible for having cleanup.
And a lot of times they'll run the street sweeper through those, and that's not a city thing because the city doesn't get on the private. Because the city does own a street sweeper, but they usually don't get on those. It's contracted out, but that I've noticed that little area up there that is a little. It can. I don't know if the wind collects or if it's just a more trash dumped out there.
Let's be honest. I see a lot of littering that goes on, and I think we need to do a better job with that as individuals. And the wind probably gets up there on that little hill too.
Well, if you look between Tractor Supply and that building, there's a wooded area that goes down. Right. And if you go to it's a lot of trash.
It collects up there.
And there's probably people there. I
Yeah.
don't know. It's just it's a lot of trash there. And I agree. I don't know who does it, but you want to get your broom? We can all just, everybody that's listening, we can get our broom going and go.
I'm out.
All right.
Well,
I was trying to help. We're trying to help.
Everybody just help a little bit. But guys,
everybody's like, no,
we
I'm
need
out.
to get out of here. We know you guys want to go to bed. And I appreciate, and Bo appreciates.
Yes,
and,
very much so.
And Shelbyville now appreciates you guys participating with us tonight. And we're going to be back real soon. We haven't got this scheduled exactly how we want it yet. And give us your input. Would be better for you. 9 o'clock. I know it's late tonight. We just thought we'd try this just to give a little different taste. Had good
Remember to check us
participation,
out,
but,
David, if I may. I'm sorry to interrupt. To check us out every morning for the latest news, the latest police reports, the obituaries, sports, any local happenings, news. It's updated constantly, and we want to be your premier source for all that information. So make sure to just check us out to save us, to keep us close by, so that way we can inform you. And with the weather, of course, we'll have that as we talked about earlier. So just make sure to plug into us, and we'll give you the news that you want.
Right. Absolutely, guys. We appreciate you guys watching. Look for the announcement when our next live show is coming up. And again, thanks for watching, and we'll be back real soon.